So basically Candace, what I'm getting at is, you have white fondant.
I have white fondant and black fondant.
Do you want to cover your board with white fondant? I know it's not going to be a chalkboard then, but then your writing will show up maybe more easily.
Unless I make royal and use that as my base.
Yes, I'm not sure how well that will show up.
I can do both. I can do like half white, half black.
Yeah.
White with a couple of black plaques on it.
Give yourself the option of something like a backup, basically.
Exactly.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so whatever, cover your boards with some fondant. I'm going to use black. I had pre-made black.
I'm all about the ready to roll these days.
We are ready to roll. I'm ready to roll.
I can't do the color it yourself. You spend
no. Okay, so when you're covering a board,
you even have these nifty little cake pens.
That is, you see, that's what I'm saying. You can use those really nicely, but it will only work on white or a lighter color. I don't think it'll work on black. Which is why I'm suggesting maybe rather just do white, because yes, I know it's chalkboard class, but the bulk of the class is going to be writing, not chalking.
Exactly.
Okay, so just work your pace a little bit so that you can roll it. When you're covering your boards, there is no point to having it thick. It's just a waste of fondant. No one's going to eat the fondant off a board if it's underneath a cake or whatever. I'm sure both of you have done courses with me, so I'm sure I've said this before, so just hang with me if I'm repeating myself. But I think it's much better, nicer to have your boards covered in general. It looks more professional. And so I'm just going to turn you over. Hold on. Oh my word. Okay, I'm actually not cut out for this stuff. Here we go. And you don't want to spend a lot of money covering the board that no one's going to eat or do anything other than look at. So really, we want to roll it as thin as kind of humanly possible. You can brush this with some water or glue or whatever before you start. I'm actually just going to roll it on, because I don't really care if it sticks or not. I'm not going to keep it forever. I might even peel it off and keep the board for later. So I'm just going to...
Yeah, I'm patiently rolling onto the thing and wondering why.
So this is now... Okay, I was trying to get it, you can see this part, but I don't know. So I'm just going to roll it out a little bit on my counter just to get it a bit bigger. And then I'm going to roll it straight onto the board.
I'm going to roll out my black on a different board so that I have black plaques and white board.
Awesome. I like this plan. Sorry that it's complicated. I didn't actually bring my plaque cutter after that, all that whole story. But I like to cut out these little plaques. Oh, that's stuck. So the little plaques are great to cut out a little shape and leave them to dry. I've, in the past, especially if you quickly need something to go on a cake with a name, I guess more with kids' cakes, but you could do it with anything, I suppose.
Have some coming ready-made.
Then you've basically got it ready-made. You can just quickly paint on the name or whatever it is. But what did I say? I'm sorry, my train of thought is just derailed off the rails again. Also, if you're unsure about painting or writing or drawing or whatever it is, if you've got a few spares, you can practice and it's not directly onto the cake.
Yeah.
Whereas if you have to paint something directly onto a cake, you don't want to mess it up, because then if you do mess it up, you have to recover and blah, 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 blah.
And that's just a mission.
Which is a mission. So I would say, sorry, I don't know. I'm having some aim problems here. Here we go. So just roll it straight on. I'm slightly wishing I'd had a smaller board now, because
you remember this guy? This is from.
I do. I've actually got my same one.
Same one.
Where did you buy those?
You know where I got these from? I don't know if they still have them. It's Plaque in Salt River.
Oh, wow.
The very first one I got when I was at Silwood, but I've had a few versions since then.
See, I've got this one, which I bought in Joburg at the chocolate den.
Those are very nice because they're non-stick as well.
Yeah.
I use it for everything. I tell you, it's the best.
Why is it still in a container on its way to me? My plasticky one. I just brought one over of the like 4 rolling pins I own.
Did you pack a rolling pin in your suitcase?
I did.
That was clever.
Didn't pack any of my cutters or anything useful.
But you've got Squire's Kitchen, and you've got all sorts of wonderful places in England.
Yes. And Amazon has surprising amounts of cake decorating stuff.
Oh, yes.
Sure, anything
I
you
wasn't
want.
organised enough this week to get like white colouring. And it's not something I can buy from Lakeland. Lakeland is the bomb, though.
I was about to say, I would have thought they would have had.
Lakeland has just about everything else you could ever want. And even like the local Sainsbury's and stuff has like all fondant and even flour paste. But they don't have white food colouring.
Well, they maybe did, but they just don't have it right now.
You know what you should look for, Candace?
Yeah.
The international one. Is that? Can you see it?
Yes, I do. Right on gel.
We're
That's
going
a
to
good
try
idea.
it today. I've never
We
tried
can
it.
I'm worried. Well, we'll see how white it is. I'm worried that it
How
won't
opaque it is.
up on the black. That's what I'm worried about. The same as the royal icing.
Yeah.
Okay. I should have covered my board ahead of time. I'm feeling like it's not going so well for me.
Mine's almost covered.
I've got this weak crease on mine.
So how's lockdown been for you, Candace?
I went back into the office on the 1st of June. So it's a distant memory right now.
Oh, and how has that
I even
been?
went to the pub last night with one of my co-workers.
Wow, yeah, still on alcohol rations. So we don't like to say the word pub.
No, I can't imagine. I hear all the news from my sister, who's
I'm sure.
currently working in ground zero in the hospitals in Joburg.
Oh, well, I'm in a hospital in Cape Town.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yep. But it means that I kept my job.
Yep. I mean, even me, even though that I've been working throughout and I've been more busy than I've ever been in the rest of my life, I'm extremely grateful that I've still got a job, because there are lots of people who don't, who I know who live in London. And I mean, living in one of the most expensive cities in the world with no job. Or like a lot of people have been forced to take like 80% pay cuts. So you still got a job, you're just only earning 20% of what your original salary was.
And you're still working the same amount, presumably.
Oh yeah, if not more.
Well, that's definitely true. So my husband's working from home, Jim's been working from home, and he is literally working probably
Crazy
double
hours.
the hours he was.
I mean,
There's no cut-off. He just works from morning till night, you know.
Exactly. I had to start setting alarms because the one day I sat down after lunch. So our lunch break is 12:30 to 1:30. Sat down after lunch, 1:30, because I'd learned the hard way to set alarms for that. And my mum phones me at like 8:30, and I was like convinced it was like 5, because I was convinced I was still working and it was still a working day, and actually it was like 8:39.
Yeah.
Completely lost track of time.
Yeah.
Yep.
A friend of mine works from home here. She's a secretary to 3 advocates. And there's no boundaries. So they send her stuff to do on Sunday night.
And expecting her to do it on Sunday night.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's made our lives very different in so many ways.
Certainly, London is very different. But I have to say it's quite nice doing public transport when there are no other people. Stuff is so empty. So although I've been going to site and stuff, it's been completely empty. Although we all have to wear masks and stuff all the time now. I don't have to wear them at work, but I do have to wear them getting to work unless I walk.
So yeah, here, if you outside of your house, you're supposed to be wearing a mask.
My son
Yeah, but also we're in supposedly post the peak.
Yeah.
Supposedly.
You've had another resurgence, haven't you?
Well, yes, they've now closed down a whole bunch of places in the north. Like Manchester type area. They've gone back under more stringent lockdown.
Julie?
You.
Must we cut some plaques?
If you want to. I don't have my plaque cutter. I'm just going to do it straight on this board. It's up to you. Right. Okay. So there's my board. Obviously, when you're painting on the board, it is you have the benefit of being able to put your hand on the counter. If you're painting directly onto a cake, or you've got something that's really big, you need to find a way to brace your hand. So you can use your other hand.
Yeah.
Or you can use, I don't know, if you Google sign writing.
They have those like,
it's like a long stick with a ball on the end.
Yeah.
You could use something like that, which is
a lot of fine artists use those for doing like pastels.
So the idea is basically, Jane, in case you don't know what the hell you're talking about, it's like a stick like this, and then your hand goes on it. So you're holding the stick with one.
Like support.
Anyway, it's like a support, yeah. I found, you'll see now when you're doing this with this big board, when you start at the top, you don't want to mess up the fondant with your hand on it. So just be careful. Okay, so I just want to move it a bit. Oh, okay, I need to move. There we go. Okay, so there's my blackboard. I don't know if you can see it. How do I get this in the frame?
That's perfect.
Okay, so the idea with the blackboard is that you want it to look like it is dusty. There are a few ways of doing that. The first one is to use Maizena. Okay, so you can Maizena it like that and then just rub it with your hand. I don't know, I'm getting, again, with this reflection, I don't even know where the reflections are coming from.
Probably the window.
Oh, hell, I don't know. Let me just tilt it so you can see. So that gives it a bit of a texture, but if you rub on it, eventually that will disappear. The Maizena will disappear. So your next option is to use the white food coloring. Okay, so if you don't have this, don't panic. I just want to show you. So this white food coloring is made from something called titanium dioxide. It is the same stuff that they put in sunscreen, that really thick sunscreen, I think, that zinc stuff. And this,
you'd find that that's zinc oxide.
Oh, maybe that is zinc. I don't know. Anyway, but anyway, it's the, but this is the stuff that's in the white gel. The white, so it's with the gel. It's like gel isn't really a good word for it. It is, it sort of settles to the bottom. It doesn't stay mixed in. So you could mix, if you just had the powder, you could mix yourself a little bit of paint to use with just some water or vodka or whatever. I'm just going to put a bit on. What?
That's you can't get nowadays.
Okay, so just water there. So I'm just going to put some on here. This, you can see how, I don't know if you can see that already. That will stay, so that won't disappear over time. Sometimes I rub it on and then use my Maizena to like rub it more so that it looks more like a chalkboard. You can do whatever. Chalkboards obviously are not perfectly uniformly black, and I would do that before you do your writing, because you don't want to mess up your lettering by adding effects after. Okay, but it's really just a random effect. It doesn't really matter how it looks. it's supposed to presumably look like someone came and wiped the board. Okay. I'm not going to do any more on that. I'm just going to start with the writing. Okay, so your options for writing, I'm going to use, oh, no, sorry. I'm going to use this white gel. This one is CK, but it's, what have you got? So let's try it. Let's see what happens.
This is just a tube, which makes it easier.
I think it might have some of that piping gel mixed in. We'll see.
Let's see.
So, right. Have a look at your brushes and see what you've got. I've brought a few different ones. Okay. So if you
What's that?
Hit up the stationery shelf.
A thin brush.
Okay.
What type of brush, really?
So I think just let's start off with the smallest option. Or should we start with the biggest option? No, let's start with the smallest option. So I'm going to use one that's, can you see it? It's quite small.
Round number 1 or 00.
Yes,
Something like that.
0.
Yeah, actually don't think it really matters that much, to be honest. Just use what you got. Use a smaller one. Oh, I love those.
They're so cool, hey?
So I've started using that to glue everything. So especially on these videos, I don't want to have glue and this and this. I just put water and I go. It's great.
Yeah, so Lakeland gives you vouchers. Every time you go in, you get a voucher for the next visit. So I spent my vouchers yesterday. All of them.
All of them. Okay. So there's my white gel. Use what you've got. If you're painting onto a white background, you can just use the normal gel as it is. Okay. Or you could thin it out a little bit to make it kind of, it looks more like a watercolor effect. Or you could use, like, this is the gold that I mixed earlier. It's just gold with the quick dry essence. This is the one I have, quick Barker, quick paint, but any vodka, any of those things are fine. The V word, sorry.
I mean, people are going to start ordering quick dry just to drink it.
I wonder, actually. And all these alcohol companies around here are now making hand sanitizer because they're the ones that can't sell any liquor.
All just a bit insane.
It's all just a bit insane. Okay, so with anything, when you are writing, you need to have a plan before you start. But because this is chalkboard, I think we could do, and we are just practicing, we can be quite random about it. I'm going to start with the small one, and I'm going to start with letters, I guess. I want to make it that you can see what I'm doing. How do I get close?
I can see perfectly.
Okay. I just want to make sure I'm in the zone when I start writing. Okay, I suggest you start from the top of your boards. I am not starting from the top of my board because I want to be in the zone here. Okay. If you're unsure about your plan before you start, use a pin to mark it out before you start.
Like we used in the old days.
Like we used in the old days.
Sometimes the old ways are better. Just say, hashtag.
Hashtag.
Are you doing the quick brown fox?
I am.
Cool.
So usually when I type or write on cakes like this, I just make them the letters separate like this. But Yeah, it's really up to you. I'm going to do a bit more of a what do you call it, cursive kind of vibe in a minute. I'm just getting my eye in. I'm hoping you're all getting your eyes in.
Mine is not. Let me show you mine. Hold on. It's
not showing up.
No, it's kind of blurring. This is the barcode one.
That's the. Oh, show me. Yeah, that should be fine. Show me what you painted again.
Can you see?
Okay. So you need to just go over it again. Just go over. So mine probably looks exactly like yours. I've just got a lot more bright lights shining down on mine. So like if you look at it and it started to fade, just go over it again with another layer. Usually I need at least 2 layers to get a good effect. And keep dipping. Dip your brush all the time. So you've got a good amount of color on there as you go. How does this go? The quick brown fox white. What does he do next? Jumped over something.
The lazy dog.
Yes, that's right. The quick.
I don't know how I can remember that.
Okay, so let me just go through this quickly. So when you're forming the letters, obviously start from the top. You know, I mean, it's like normal writing. Okay. The next.
All over again.
So I'm now going to go with a bit more like cursive vibe. Okay, so these are just straight printed letters. I don't know what you call that. Quick brown fox. So and this kind of stuff, I would say the more you practice it with your pen, the easier it will be with your brush. So this kind of practicing, you don't need, I don't know what a cursive X looks like. You don't need to.
Isn't it like a?
I think it's like that. Like that. Let me try and see if I can fix it up. Here we go.
Hello, darling. Hello, mother.
So with the more cursive-y look, in general, I would say the downstroke is going to be wider than the upstrokes. Yeah. So again, because we're not using a pen that does that, I just come back and do it sort of artificially by going over those. So this J, for instance, here, it needs to, oopsie, it's a bit too wide. The U, these downstrokes, just highlight them. And you'll see as you go over it, sometimes it kind of, the black starts to show through in patches. You can just wait for it to dry more or just go over it again.
Let me try this with pen.
Pen, yeah. So I don't know if you can see it on the D. Oh, la la, maybe if I really zoom in, I don't know if I can get any closer. You can't see it, I can't see it on my screen, but I can see it in live. It has become crackled. So you don't want that because that's not convincing letter chalkboard. Just go over the places where it's cracked. This J has got so many problems. Okay. Then I'm going to do a nice thin capital letter vibe. Jumped.
Oh, you see, you've managed to get yours beautiful. That's what the pen looks like.
To the pen.
That tube.
It looks pretty. It's just a bit gloopy. Do you think it will
Really?
run, or do you think it will stay like that?
I don't know. We'll find out.
What I would with that is I would take a small brush or a toothpick and I would just, how do I describe it? Like pull out the little corners to make little serifs.
Yeah.
Just to highlight, just shape it a bit better.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's worth it though.
Try again.
Definitely finding the value of the damp cloth that you specify. I've got powder everywhere.
I don't know. I don't know. This whole Zoom class business, it's troublesome to me.
I must say, I do prefer piping with a piping bag.
Then the squeezy bottle.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I hate squeezy bottles, and everyone's like, "Oh, why don't you get these squeezy tubes?" I'm like, "You get the squeezy tube. I'm fine."
I've got to tell you, Julie, I would agree with you. I find that no, this is wrong.
Because you can buy like a squeezy bottle that you can attach nozzles to, and people always ask me why, or I'm like, I don't know. I'm a person who's always piped with a bag.
I feel like I have more control with a piping bag.
For sure, yeah.
I far prefer a piping bag, I must say.
How are we going there? Sorry, I'm in my own world here.
Yeah, it's a question of learning to write properly. Go back to kindergarten, going.
Yeah, it's true actually. And Charlotte's, we're obviously doing a lot of this homeschooling situation, and she's at the stage of learning to write, and she's got a few problems with her letters formation and stuff. And just having someone point out that you're supposed to start from the top. I don't know, like it's just, I don't really think about it before, but it makes sense.
Yes.
Okay, so we've done, I don't know, what have you guys done? I can't see what you're doing. You see, this is the problem with these Zoom classes. I talk and then who knows. Oh, I was going to tell you, Jane, earlier. So I did a class with cookies, flooded cookies.
Yeah.
And I had sent a list with the list of what they needed. And on the list for a separate class with a separate date was a recipe for butter icing. And so she did this whole class with butter icing, trying to flood these cookies with butter icing, and I couldn't really understand why it wasn't working. And she kept asking weird questions like, "Can you use this on a cake?" And I'm like, "Well, not really. It's quite hard." So now my new thing is, just show me what you've got there before we start.
Activite is my new best friend. I must tell you, I use it for everything.
Oh yeah, I've also started only using Activite because what do you do with all the egg yolks otherwise?
Make creme brulee.
Yeah, but you get tired of creme brulee.
Yeah.
I can never.
I mean,
get
if
or make like an angel food cake or something.
Yeah, but you need whites for that, don't you?
Angel food, yeah.
Make
You can buy egg
lemon curd. That's my favorite thing right now.
What's that?
Lemon curd.
I use the whole egg in my recipe.
I was about to say, I would think mine also uses whole egg. I'm not too sure.
Mine
Okay.
I've got the Tina Bester one. You know the Tina Bester?
I know who she is. I haven't used her recipe though.
Her lemon curd is divine.
She's awesome. All her recipes are lovely.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I started with that small brush because you don't have to dip it all the time. So now I'm using, oopsie, just made that, a much bigger brush. I don't know if you can really see what is happening here, but you're getting kind of diffusion, like mine is kind of, so
That's
you
what
need to,
mine was doing with the small brush.
yeah, so you need to go over it to prevent that. I don't know, I don't know if you can really see it, but you just need to kind of keep going over until you get the effect you want.
I'm effectively painting watercolors right now.
You're painting what?
Watercolors.
Oh, I love doing that.
Yeah. Except I've got a whole bunch of holes from resting my hand because it's not hard.
I know, I'm also resting my hand here. I'm doing exactly what I told you not to do.
Yeah.
That's another thing about the plaques. So if you're using a plaque, it's small enough that you can rest, which is another reason to use it. Okay.
Yeah, I've made real mess of that one. This takes practice.
The writing is all about practice, I think. So I don't know, again, I'm not sure how visible it is to you, but my O is a bit off to the side. Something went wrong. They're not lined up. I'm hoping to fix that just with my brush. But again, and this just comes with practice, I think. You know, there we go. That looks a bit better. Dog. Okay, and then, oh, actually, I'm not going to rush you. Show me what you're doing.
Can you use this as for the brushing embroidery? You know, like you do with royal icing, can you do the same with this?
Yes, I don't think it would be as textured.
But if you're not looking for a textured thing.
Let me see. What am I going to dip it into? Let's get some paint.
There's my H. I quite like the effect of, but it didn't really.
Oh,
work. You know what I see?
yes, that looks great.
And the gel hasn't run.
Fantastic.
So I'm going to try. I'm actually going to try this gel and see if we can do like that.
So the gel, I think, would do this very nicely, this brush embroidery vibe, because it has a bit of a texture to itself. I don't know. It sort of works. It's a bit. Oh.
Having so much fun in my own little world right now.
Yeah. So Jane and I did the first class, whatever it was. I can't even, what did we do? Cement texture.
Ooh.
Actually, we could have used your expertise, Candice.
Yes.
Please tell me once and for all, what is the difference between concrete and cement?
One is the finished project and one is just the component of the finished project.
So concrete is the component.
Make concrete. Concrete is the bit with all the aggregate and the water and everything in it.
So the cement is made of the limestone.
Yes.
Yeah, I did learn something.
Yeah, there we go. Okay, this was meant to be a flower, but now it looks like lips.
Just go with it.
There we go. That's a bit better. What I'm going to try, I don't have any, I don't know the colors here. Darn. Maybe I'll just do with some gold. So with the white coloring.
Doesn't turn out well, Julie.
Sorry?
Doesn't turn out well.
Too runny, I think.
Better with icing.
Better with icing. And icing will dry hard and stay where you put it. This white gel, if you really want to get into painting things, the white gel will give you like an acrylic paint look. So you can mix different colors with it and it will stay like a thick paint color.
Yeah.
If you want the watercolor look, which I think is more or less what Candace is doing over there, I don't really know. She's not showing me her things.
I'm having so much fun. Like,
yeah, so that you can mix. You can, by mixing in quick dry essence or water. I just think the quick dry will make your cake less sticky. You can water it down right down to like a full-on watercolor vibe. Or if you want it to be like an oil paint, like really that like thick painted look, then I would use royal icing or even butter icing. I've seen people do butter icing, where you kind of smear it on. Okay, I don't know, this flower is really just not working for me. I'm gonna put it out of the frame. Bye-bye. Okay, the next thing we're gonna do is a embellishment, like a flourish. Obviously, again, if you go online, you will find a trillion different flourishes. But I'm just going to do a pretty basic one, like so. Go one way and then the other way, and you can sort of end it, something like that. And again, I would mark it out somehow before you start. And then just go over it.
Whoa, there's some really cool ones in the interwebs.
I'm sure. I've messed mine up a bit. Yeah, you can spend, I mean, that's a whole nother adventure, like lettering and flourishes and I think a lot of this has to do with how it's laid out on the cake, depending on what you're trying to achieve, really. So let's say it was like a wedding cake and it was maybe the initials of the couple. I'm going to do one of those now, like a monogram or whatever. Then you need to make sure that you're getting a good like composition. I don't know really what the word for that is, but you don't want one initial bigger than the other, or you know, that it's spaced nicely and that maybe it's in some kind of border, so that it becomes like a whole thing.
Have you seen the Cake Painter book?
No.
If you indulge me for 5 seconds, I'll get it.
It's the wrong pen.
Back in the day when I first started cake decorating, I had this book was my Bible.
Oh, yeah, no, I've never even seen that before.
Haven't you? Oh.
No, I feel like something I should know about.
Katie Painter lived here in Milnerton, and she had all these.
There you go. So there we go. That is perfect. And there are trillions of those to download from the internet. If you just look up fonts and whatever.
And you can still see where I've got my my paper that I stuck on it.
Yeah, that's giving me ideas there.
Lots of books did this, and I used to prick it out with a pin and then pipe it on with a piping bag.
What you could,
a brush.
if you're piping, depending on how big the letters are, you can pipe onto make a transfer. Basically, you put a piece of wax paper over the letters, trace around, leave them to dry, and then peel them off and stick them on.
Yes.
Which can be quite helpful if you are not feeling confident about doing it straight onto the cake. I don't know, so many options.
Oh.
Okay. So, are we good with the flourishes? As I say, you can flourish yourself into oblivion.
I love flourishes. I think they're great fun.
I'm actually very bad at flourishes. I panic whenever I'm flourishing. I don't know. I just like,
Don't flourish with flourishes.
Okay, I'm just going to change my board a bit so I can get a fresh section to work on. Okay. I don't want that ugly flower in the picture though. Cheapest that flower must get out of my life. Okay. All right, so if we're doing, I'm going to switch to a bigger brush. I'm going to go with my biggest brush that I have here, which looks like this.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's hard to see. Let me just compare that to the small brush I was just using. Okay, so quite a bit bigger. And I'm going to do a monogram. So I don't know, what initials should I do? Maybe I should do C and J for you guys. So before, I don't have a pin here. Damn. Okay, so before I start, I'm just going to make sure that I have marked out where it's going to be. I'm trying to turn this so that it's straight so that you guys can see. Okay, so okay, I don't know if you can see that. I don't want to make it so dark that it is fully visible later. I just want it to be a good mark for me. Now I've lost the brush. Okay, and the nice thing about these thick brushes, big brushes, is it can hold a lot of paint. So when you come to doing big things, I think it makes it probably a little bit easier. You don't have to paint over it so many times. Okay. I don't know, Jane, do you battle with J's?
Yes.
My name also has a J, and I feel like my J never lives up to expectations.
No, mine never lives
C
up
is
to
the worst
expectations.
letter though.
What?
C is the worst because it's symmetrical.
See, I love to do C's. Okay, so I'm going to do the C first. Let's do the C.
But I have a J as my middle name.
Okay.
That looks so cool. I like how it's like crackled away.
Okay, so that crackle is caused by the fact that there is fat in the fondant. So if you like that effect, you can leave it if you want, or if you don't want it, then you just go over it a few times. You can see, just going over it kind of mixes the fat in and it disappears, okay?
It looks epic.
You know what I can't do is an ampersand. Uh-oh.
Mine are always fancy.
I can never do it. I just need to, sorry, whoa, uh-oh. I'm running out of battery in every direction here. I just need to go find another charger, I think. Okay. Uh-oh. Oh. No, this. There's just wires everywhere. Okay.
Add an S on the end and you've got all my initials.
That is quite amazing. Quite accidental.
There we go.
Okay, and on account of the fact that I cannot do an ampersand, or don't think I can reliably do it on screen right now, I'm going to do something different to join them.
Oh, I like that.
That's very clever.
Something like that.
That's very clever. I like that.
Okay. And what I'm trying to get across to you, whoops, sorry, we're trying to hold this cable up while I'm doing it, is that you don't have to, don't panic if your letters aren't where you think they should be. You know, so like this J, I feel like it's wider on this side than here, but just with my small brush, I think I can quite easily just resolve that by going over it a little bit to sort out any, you know, weirdness. Okay. You get the idea. Okay, how we go? Are you guys fine? Can I just quickly go and get another charger for this other phone? I'll be back in 1 second.
So Candace, who do you work for?
I work for a small consulting engineer company.
Oh, yeah.
I'm in Wimbledon. We mainly do residential developments, but we have one massive mixed-use development that I'm busy working on it right now.
So what do you do?
Central London. So I'm a civil engineer.
Oh, wow.
I'm a civil engineer who has an arts degree. Way to figure.
That's fantastic.
Double degree. So I work for a structural engineering firm, but I'm their resident civil engineer. I don't know how this happened, but I'm currently default head of department. And you work in the hospital.
Yeah, I'm the nursing coordinator.
Amazing. You
No,
must
it's
be
not.
really
It's
busy, right?
horrible. It's a shitty job, but someone has
Yeah.
to do it.
I come from a family of nurses and doctors.
How are your family, Candace?
My mum's in York, my sister's in Joburg, and that's about all. Yeah, so my mum's just glad she got out when she did. She literally got out on the Friday and they announced the South African lockdown on this Monday.
I know, people have been like stranded in the weirdest places.
So they went straight up to York, and then I ended up getting stuck in York the following week because I went up for the weekend, and the weekend turned into 2 months.
Oh my word.
Yeah. Stuck anywhere, York is a highly advisable place to get stuck because it was beautiful. I even took up running. I was like, who's this person?
I don't know. I've just been stuck inside my house with my children. It's
Joy.
yeah, energy sapping.
What did I do? My fondant is very much too soft to do much.
Okay, so that's probably just because we're doing it straight away onto the thing. If your fondant is very soft, add CMC or just do it and leave it to dry. Usually with this type of stuff, I don't roll out and immediately start painting on it. I usually roll it out and leave it as, you know, so it's just, I think it's more a function of the fact that we're doing it in a compressed time.
Yeah.
Okay, how are we going? Are we going good there?
I'm cool.
Going.
Everyone's studio not showing me anything. Okay, the next one I wanted to do was like a little banner thing.
Yeah.
Let's see how we go. What shall I write in this banner? Something short. Okay, so banners are quite easy. Again, I would mark it out before you start. I'm not going to, I'm just going to go for it. So for a banner, you're going to draw a rectangle. Okay. And then keeping the width the same, come on either side. Whoopsie. Shouldn't have had quite so many coffees. A bit wonky there. Okay.
So we finished work early yesterday purely because it was too freaking hot to do anything. And I still had like 4 cups of tea.
Well, don't they say tea is good for cooling down, makes you sweat or something?
I don't know. I just felt like I needed the caffeine, and I don't like coffee.
Okay, so do you all see what I've done? A rectangle and then 2 little tails. And then this usually can just put it at like a little bit of an angle, just so it looks like it's disappearing. Around with me. And then you can, if you want to, just color in this bottom triangle. I don't know, I don't really bother usually with this. Just do it something like that. It's not that visible on my one. And then obviously you can write whatever you want to inside it. I've made this all rather small now. It's a bit of a challenge here. And having a tiny, tiny brush is quite helpful. This brush is not even as tiny as some that I have used.
I still make everything in miniature.
I know. I always think of you whenever I make miniature things.
I don't even know how this happens.
I guess what I'm saying is, so I have, not here, I don't know where it is right now. I have a brush that's much thinner than this, which I sometimes use, but you don't want, so on cakes, you don't want it to be so small that no one can see what it says. You know, you want it to be visible. So, okay.
Hello, darling. Yes, my loving. Sorry,
Oh, it's actually 12 o'clock. Oh, no, man. And you can make your banner part of your whole like story. So the banner doesn't have to be the only thing saying something. You can then carry on. See?
I'll stuff this up. Well.
Okay, let's actually talk about if you stuff it up. If you stuff it up,
yeah,
you need to have some vodka or quick dry or whatever, and then another toothpick, earbud or a paintbrush would do it, so you can clean it off.
does it not leave a mark on the blackboard?
So then you use your Blackboard effects to cover up the mess, if you know what I mean. Let me do what let me erase the thing for you now. Okay, so let's say you made an accident. There's my accident. So brush. Oh, no. Brush would be fine at this point. So I've got a clean brush. I've got a bit of this is just quick dry.
Yeah.
Okay. So you just erase it. Dry this brush off.
Oh wow, black magic.
And then if there is a little bit of a sticky mark there, then I would just come along and make as if it is part of the Blackboard effect. if you know what I mean. Again, I can just see my giant fingerprint there. And these fingerprints, yeah. Okay. It's very reflective, but if it wasn't so reflective, it would look.
Yeah, I know. I can see what you've done. That's very
What
clever.
Yeah, and that's one of the things with the Blackboard effect, which is so great, because if you do mess up your background, you can just make it part of the effect. If you do have fingerprints, so this, obviously stuck my fingers in here at some point, just use your smoother.
I forgot I had a smoother with me.
Well, yeah, if you don't have a smoother, you could just even use your hand just to rub it out a bit. It doesn't have to be anything, you know, dramatic. Does anyone have any questions?
No, I've just got a statement. I've got to go and learn how to write again.
Sure, I haven't done this for so long.
No. And that gel is still sticky.
The gel will stay sticky forever.
Mm.
I think it's with piping gel, which should never dry, all they say. Maybe not never. Okay.
That would never be used again on a cake. I do. But
Just do it on the top of something, you know. Okay, so there's my various things that I made. Don't look at that. Maybe I can
Amazing.
go around.
nothing wrong with the flower.
The flower is terrible. The flower is just hideous. Total embarrassment.
Stop being so precious.
Okay, so if you wanted to do just to go back to the kids cake or for the teacher or something, I don't know, that's where I see Blackboards used the most. You know, I would just keep it simple to like, I love it when there's a bit of like a pun or something involved. So it's like, you know, teacher Jenny is #1, or, you know, whatever. You know, like make it look like a kids class, or, you know, that kind of thing. But yeah, that's, I think, I don't know.
A is for apple.
A, yeah, exactly.
A is for awesome.
A is for awesome. Should we do that? A small one.
Ha! Oh, yes.
Does anyone have any questions?
No, I'm good.
I'm just completely transfixed. In the moment. Which in of itself is quite unusual for me right now.
Yep.
So ridiculously busy. I haven't had time to sleep. I haven't had time to eat properly. It's just insane.
Self-care. We're supposed to be doing self-care.
One does not have time for one's self-care at the moment.
Yeah. I don't know. For me, okay, obviously I have different kind of things happening in my life.
Yeah.
But my children are like so demanding that, like, you know, it'll be 10 o'clock and I still haven't had breakfast, and I'm like, oh my gosh, you guys are killing me.
Yep. Yeah, that's why you're supposed to be sending them to school.
One would like to.
Would like to, and one would be forced to not.
So here, obviously, there was no way I was going to fit awesome in.
I mean, having fun.
It looks beautiful. Oh, and your see your wreath looks stunning too.
I'm not very good, but you see the A I made there with the single line and the thick.
Looks so cool.
Lovely.
That is fun. And kind of add a chimney or something to it.
That's awesome. That is A for awesome.
Yes, so I'm still trying to clean up my flower mess here. There's some things that are just too big to be deleted.
Sorry.
Cool. I don't really actually have anything else specifically to tell you.
We all need to learn to write again.
Guess who's Googling chalkboard art now?
Chalkboard art, trust me, you'll go down a very, you can spend a whole day looking at it. The thing that I've seen, I think I sent it to both of you, I don't know. At the bottom of each thing, there's a link to my Pinterest boards that has, so like it's like a chalkboard cake board that I have. If you want to see how you can use these things. They're not my cakes, they're just ideas. Okay. All right, this, I don't know. Just move on, woman. What is happening here? Yeah, and then Jane, we're doing wafer things, and I can't even remember what it is. Sugar sheets
and wafer things. What do I need for that?
So I'm just busy. I just did a test run because I wanted to make sure I had all the stuff on the equipment, and I did that yesterday. So I will type it up this weekend and send it.
Okay.
It is not on the list yet.
Because I was watching, I've been watching these cake flicks.
Oh, they're awesome, yeah.
They've been really nice. And there was a girl who, I think she came second in one of the Australian cooking show, baking things, the British Bake Off type knockoff. Tall blonde girl. And she did, she took sugar sheets, the ones that you print on.
Yes, yeah.
And she cut them into semicircles or arcs or whatever, and she put them around a cake. I wanted to try that. So I go and find out how much they are. For a pack of 25 is over 800 Rand.
800! Jeepers.
I can't think exactly what they could do with these. Oh, really?
So, yeah, because it comes on the backing that goes through the printer, the special printer. You can buy like non-backed ones for much cheaper.
Where?
I just got them from Cab, I think. I'll look now. I was using them yesterday. And if you do want to buy them if you don't have a printer, the place to get them the cheapest apparently is from Osmond's in Gatesville.
Okay.
Even cheaper than from the supplier, apparently. Because
I was really quite horrified because I thought they was just way too expensive.
Maybe, I'm not sure.
But the unbacked ones.
Oh, the unbacked, I'm sure they do, yes, yeah. Just ask for rice paper.
I've got rice paper.
Yeah, just use that. You can't print, obviously.
No, I don't want to print.
Yeah.
Don't have a printer.
It'll be perfect for the class. That's all you need for the class.
It's just rice paper. I've got rice paper.
Yeah, it's the same
I'll
stuff.
sign up for that class too. Sounds amazing.
Yes, I am fine. So disorganized. I was saying to Jane earlier, like she thought everyone these two classes will be much busier, and I'm like, I didn't even hardly tell anyone because my life got so spiraled out of control. And you kind of need a picture to show people, and then I had this crap picture that I'd taken, and it was just a disaster. Anyway.
Candice, let me show you what we did in the last one. I think this is so cool.
Yes. Fun. I mean, if it wasn't for the fact that we're an hour behind, I would have joined.
I was about to say, it had to be like 7 or something.
Epic.
It's beautiful, hey?
It's just an hour too early.
I know, I figured.
Yeah. I'm an hour behind. So it's like way too early for a Saturday morning.
I love this. It was
That
so
looks
fun.
absolutely stunning.
It was so much
Yeah.
fun.
And it came out beautifully.
It does look great.
I had so much fun. You have no idea. And I've got bits and pieces lying around. I've got all this.
Yeah, well, on my other screen is currently Cake Decorating Company UK website, because I'm going to actually order the proper equipment for my next class.
Here, look here. So look at this mess.
Oh, wow.
It's
But
like
it's all worth it. All in the name of fun.
I was saying to lock my children out, I have had to take I'm now in Charlotte. This is Charlotte's bedroom. That's where I am.
Oh, and where's Charlotte?
I don't know. They're watching TV. She's quite happy today.
And it's still very soft.
Still soft. Yeah. So you can make more CMC in, or just leave it to dry. When I was doing the little test run, I stuck it in the oven for a few minutes. My oven was warm and it had something in it earlier. That made it quite a nice crust on the outside, but as soon as I started to work with it, the inside was still quite soft.
I've also seen where they take a blowtorch to the top of the fondant.
Yes, you could do that.
So cool. And then you roll it over and then it looks like
Exactly. Then you get the crackle. The crackle that I lost my crackle. That piece is very
good idea.
Jane, that one that I painted gold.
Yeah.
Should have given that effect, but I don't know where it is. I've lost it.
You probably
And when I last looked at it, it wasn't dry. I don't know where it is. Okay, cool. I have made a recording of these two classes, so I will send the links if you want to watch them later.
Thank you.
when I actually get white coloring.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't think that you haven't learned the skill here.
Oh,
you know
yeah,
what I mean? I think it's really a problem.
Know that I need to work on my brush.
I think I'm going to.
And you can do that with watercolors or whatever. It doesn't have to be with your little water brush, you know, just dip it into some. Looks stunning. Oh, you guys are very talented.
That's very nice.
It's very nice.
It's something that's completely out of my day job, so it's completely what I needed.
Me too. That's exactly how I felt.
Yeah.
And I will see, well then I'll see you